What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack.
What is good, YouTube? It's Monday. You know what that means. It is Monday, February 8th, 2021. This is the Wrestling with Fans podcast, WWE Raw Preview. My name is Kyle. Welcome to the stream. If you're in the chat joining us live, give the stream a big old thumbs up. Say hi in the chat. Let me know you're here. What are you expecting from Monday Night Raw this week? It is the post-Super Bowl edition of Monday Night Raw. And congratulations to former 24/7 champion Rob Gronkowski on winning another Super Bowl title with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The light situated. All right, we're good. There we go. All right. Now, there is actually not a lot going on. What is up, DJ? Glad to see you in here in the chat with me, my friend. I apologize for Friday. I came home, ate dinner, and I sat down. I was like, I'll rest for a few minutes. And the next thing I know, it is Saturday morning, but that will not happen again. I'll make sure I'm here on Friday. But we're back on Monday Night Raw. Just looking at the preview email that they sent me. I'm on the WWE email list, so I get the previews every week. Right now, the only thing we know that is going to happen, we got Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton for the 837th time in the last year. Also, how will Drew McIntyre respond to Sheamus? So I'm guessing we're going to kick off Raw with Drew McIntyre like we have almost every Raw for the last, I don't know how long. We're going to have a face-to-face with Charlotte Flair and Lacey Evans. And then they are previewing who is going to be on Raw Talk. Damian Priest and Mustafa Ali will be on Raw Talk after Monday Night Raw. So there's really not a lot to go on. 22 minutes until Raw goes live. So what I figure I'll do tonight, so there's not really a lot to talk about as far as what we know. Now, we can dive a little bit into the Sheamus and Drew and the Lacey and Charlotte stuff. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say we kick off Raw tonight. Drew McIntyre coming to the ring to cut a promo, talking about how Sheamus bro kicked him in the face last week. I'm sure it'll probably lead to a match. I'm guessing at Elimination Chamber because that is the next WWE pay-per-view coming up. I'm just kind of wondering why we're getting Randy and Drew yet again. These guys have fought ad nauseum for months. I'm just looking at the Internet Wrestling Database here. So let's just go back a little bit. We'll just count off a few matches here. They had a match on Raw, let's see, November 16th, October 25th. They were in a 6-man tag match on October 6th. Clash of Champions, September 27th. SummerSlam, August 2020. A live event back in March before the pandemic kicked in. But it feels like this Randy and Drew storyline just doesn't seem to end. maybe it will start something up again for Randy and Edge at Mania. That's also a possibility, DJ. I kind of like that. Maybe Edge gets involved. Maybe Sheamus gets involved. And who knows, we could end up with a tag match. Holla holla. Teddy Long going to come out. Instead of going one-on-one with The Undertaker, they're going to set up a tag match. I kind of like that. I like the way you think there. It could be Randy and Sheamus versus Drew and Edge. I could easily see something like that going down. Maybe we get some more from Alexa Bliss, since she interfered in the main event last week, costing Randy the match against Edge, which is really disappointing. We finally get the Edge and Randy Orton, the third match, impromptu kind of on Raw, no build. They should have built that match up over a couple weeks, but it was kind of announced last week. We got it last week. Alexa Bliss causing a distraction, Edge picking up the win. Kind of a weak end to what otherwise was a pretty strong feud dating back to last year. With Edge being hurt, it was kind of hard to pick right back up because Edge comes back, wins the Rumble. So obviously he's got his sights set on a world title shot at WrestleMania. Randy Orton has been feuding with Drew throughout most of last year, and then now with The Fiend. So it's kind of weird to get that match kind of out of nowhere last week like an RKO, but I'm guessing that's kind of putting a stamp on that feud for now. I'm sure we'll revisit Edge and Randy Orton down the line somewhere. With Damian Priest, I'm kind of wondering what if they'll continue Damian Priest with The Miz and John Morrison. Maybe we'll get Priest versus Morrison this week, since he had the match with The Miz last week. I could see them doing something like that. Matt Riddle and Bobby Lashley might have another match, or Riddle might have to run another gauntlet against the Hurt Business to get another shot at Lashley. I hope not. But they seem to be on such, the roster is so thinned out right now with the recent COVID scares. I'm thinking if the timing is right, Keith Lee might be cleared from quarantine for tonight's Raw. So maybe we'll get Keith Lee back this week. It'd be nice. Unfortunately, he did miss the Rumble. Mia Yim maybe being back after testing positive. Hopefully she's having a speedy recovery. So I don't know if they'll be able to be cleared to be back this week, or if nothing else next week, get those guys back on Raw to beef up the roster. Let's talk Lacey and Charlotte for a minute. Now, I have not been a fan of this whole Lacey and Charlotte thing. And my reasoning for that, and the reasoning for that is it's cost Asuka the spotlight. Asuka is the Raw Women's Champion and has been since, the Raw after Money in the Bank last year. And she had a couple feuds early on, but the last 4 or 5 months has been nothing but a prop. Most recently, she's just kind of been a bystander in the whole Charlotte and Rick and Lacey saga that's going on. And I talked about this last week, and I talked about it on last week's podcast, that it's a travesty for Asuka, who has single-handedly carried the Raw Women's division for the last year. Now, it hasn't been the best. Charlotte missed a significant amount of time. Becky was off having little baby messiahs with Seth Rollins. So hopefully Becky will be able to be back in time for WrestleMania. Raw definitely needed the boost. So I'm glad that Charlotte is back. Don't get me wrong. The Raw Women's division was hurting without Charlotte and Becky there. And even, it's kind of even been a little weaker without Ronda around. Even though some people say we don't need Ronda, I think Ronda does bring a level of clout to the Raw Women's division. But I'm sure we'll get some kind of face-to-face. This could lead to a match at Elimination Chamber between the two. But this is one thing I'm just not into, and I don't know why. I mean, I'm glad they're doing something with Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans is very talented. You know, she's a veteran, so I have a different level of respect for being in the armed forces. But they really haven't done a lot with her since calling her up from NXT last year. So it's nice that they're putting her in a storyline. But it would also be nice for them to do something separate from this with Asuka. I mean, you have so many talented women on the roster. I mean, you have Dana Brooke, Mandy Rose, Naomi, Shayna, and Nia Jax. You got Nikki Cross, Alexa Bliss. So many talented women. So there's plenty to go around to do more than just one storyline with the women. And that seems mostly what we've gotten. It's usually been around the tag team championships. Asuka was kind of a bystander and all of that. It says, will we see Edge? I hope we see Edge. Now, Edge did an interview last week, I believe it was, to kind of quell some of the talk that usually this time of year around WrestleMania, legends start to come back in to get that WrestleMania payday. And a lot of the current roster who've been busting their ass day in and day out, I don't want to say are resent the legends, but I think there is a level of resentment to some of these guys that come back just around WrestleMania time. But Edge has stated that he is full-time. Until he can no longer go full-time, he will be full-time. So I'm guessing that until Edge's decision is made as far as his WrestleMania opponent, which as of now, I believe is still penciled in Roman Reigns. That's what Dave Meltzer over at Wrestling Observer Radio is reporting. That it is still in the cards for Edge to take on the big dog Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. But then that also begs the question, where does this leave Drew McIntyre come WrestleMania? Now, on tomorrow's podcast, I've already got some notes. I'm going to kind of fantasy book this year's WrestleMania based off of what we know now and what could potentially happen with some returning people over the next couple months. But I'm going to give you what my best case scenario WrestleMania card is tomorrow night on the official Wrestling with Fans podcast. Don't forget, so we'll be back here at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. This is a good time to segue. On the graphic here, if you're watching live, and hopefully you are, shout out again to DJ. Thank you for joining me live, my friend. Appreciate having you in here, chatting with you. Mondays from 7:30 to 8, Monday Night Raw Preview, right up until Raw goes live. On Tuesdays at 8 p.m. till around 9 p.m., depending on how much stuff there is to talk about that week, do the official Wrestling with Fans podcast live stream right here on YouTube. On Wednesdays from 7:30 to 8, we'll do the Wednesday Night War Preview. AEW and NXT will spend about 15 minutes on each show, previewing what's coming up on Wednesday nights. We're going to take a break on Thursday, and then Friday, 7:30 to 8 again, right here on YouTube for a SmackDown live preview. SmackDown on Fox, whatever the official name it is going by right now. But that is the streaming schedule. Make sure that you check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/Wrestling with Fans. Smash that like button to keep up to date with everything we're doing here on the podcast. If you're watching us live, make sure you're subscribed. Click that big red subscribe button. Click the little bell to be notified anytime a new video is posted or anytime we go live. You can follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Wrestling with Fans. It's free to follow over on Twitch, do a little gaming. And if you want to help support the show, you can click wrestlingwithfans.com/shop to buy a t-shirt with our awesome blue logo. The new merch is coming tomorrow. I forgot about it last week. Completely slipped my mind. All the designs are good. We're going to debut it tomorrow on the podcast. The links to everything are in the video description down below. DJ saying Drew and Cena is my dream match. I would love to see John Cena come back for WrestleMania this year. I would love to see Drew take on John Cena. However, I think I touched on it on the podcast last week. Maybe, I don't remember. But either way, Cena has come out and said that his filming for the HBO Max show, the Suicide Squad TV show, is going through June, and it's in Canada. So a couple things are at play here. A, he'd have to quarantine for 2 weeks coming back into the States pre-WrestleMania. That's even if he does some build up until that, and then would have to quarantine for an additional 2 weeks to go back to Canada to film in between that and the event itself. So they would probably have to shut production down for a while. So unfortunately, it seems that John Cena being at WrestleMania this year is out of the cards. Now, we all know wrestling is work, so he could just be working all of us. I hope that's the case, but I think with John now being more in Hollywood full time than he is in WWE, his appearances are few and far between. I think, was it 2019 was the first year in like 15 years that didn't feature a John Cena pay-per-view match. And even last year, I think that the only appearance he made was for the Firefly Funhouse match at WrestleMania. And I don't even think that was technically a match. Says, heard that too. Then yesterday, someone, I can't remember who, thinks he's lying. Like I said, wrestling is a work. So it would not surprise me if John's just working all of us and will be at WrestleMania this year. I hope that's the case. I think the state of WrestleMania right now is kind of up in the air as far as star power. Edge being back from injury will add a bit of star power to WrestleMania. Christian now being cleared to compete. Edge did an interview earlier the end of last week, saying that he was quietly cleared to wrestle last month. He said he had driven down from North Carolina to Christian's house to spend the night before heading to the Rumble. And that's when Edge found out that he was cleared to compete and would be competing in the Rumble. So they drove down to the Rumble together. So it was a nice surprise for Edge as well. So, you have Edge and you have Christian. Goldberg is always an option on the table. I'm not the biggest fan of Goldberg being thrust into another match with Drew McIntyre. But as far as the guys on Raw, I don't currently know of anybody that is positioned for a build to a WrestleMania match. Obviously, he's going to address Drew here tonight in about 8 minutes when Raw goes live. And I think that this will lead to a match at Elimination Chamber, possibly even continuing to Fastlane. Is there enough for a Sheamus Drew match at WrestleMania? Is Sheamus and Drew a big enough match for WrestleMania this year? And I honestly don't think it is. I love Sheamus. He has been a mainstay of the upper mid card and even dabbling in the main event at times. Former multiple time world champion. But I think at this point in Sheamus's career, he is not positioned to be a WrestleMania main event contender. Because I'm guessing here for the 2 nights of WrestleMania, the WWE Championship will headline one night. The Blue Universal title will headline the other night. There will be probably a women's title match on each night. And probably a big attraction match on each night. So that's 6 matches. So you're going to have, men and women's titles on both nights and a big special attraction style match on both nights. And then undercards underneath that. Knowing WWE, they'll make it Drew and Randy. DJ, honestly, that's probably the only thing going. But I think it'll be Randy and The Fiend. It'll be another Randy Orton Bray Wyatt match at WrestleMania. Now, the last one they had involved the spooky, scary stuff being projected onto the ring. This will be a little different because it'll be The Fiend and not just Bray Wyatt. Drew and Randy would have the star power, but I think they're going Fiend and Randy at WrestleMania this year. The Miz is always in play, still holding the Money in the Bank briefcase. So there might be a cash in during a match at WrestleMania. I don't want to give too much away. I don't want to give away my notes, but there's a recent call up to Monday Night Raw that I think will be a great fit if they fast track a build for a WrestleMania match. But I'll talk about that more in depth tomorrow right here on YouTube for the official Wrestling with Fans podcast. It'll be episode 141. Hard to believe it'll be at 141 episodes. It's probably a lot more because there's bonus episodes, and some weeks I did watch alongs and didn't name the number. So we're probably closer to like 150. But we are closing in on 3 years here of the Wrestling with Fans podcast. We're doing the live streams during the week. It's a lot of fun. And just as a side note, as soon as I finish this live stream, so here in about 5 minutes, I have to finish the thumbnail, and then I got a brand new video hitting this very YouTube channel. I have compiled a lot of footage over the last 6 or 7 weeks, doing a little fig hunting, as you can see here in the back. What some of the things I have found, just a little preview. Andre and Macho Man WrestleMania 3, found them at Target. We got Kyle O'Reilly coming through in the clutch. Thanks to Bobby and Josh for that. Got a little Jake the Snake, want to play 21. And of course, it wouldn't be Figs without a super kick party. AEW Series 3, the Young Bucks. Found them. But I got a fig hunt video dropping on YouTube as soon as this stream is over. So stick around for that. I'll set it up as a preview or a premiere. So hopefully everybody sticks around and checks it out here in a little bit. Final thoughts here. We got about 3 minutes till Raw goes live, which means I should probably turn the TV to USA Network, but I don't have my remote, so I'll have to get that as soon as the stream's over. But again, what we know, the official announcement, we got Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre. Drew's going to address the Sheamus situation from last week after getting bro kicked in the face. We're going to have a face-to-face with Charlotte Flair and Lacey Evans. And then they're also saying that on Raw Talk on the USA Network after Raw tonight, we're going to have Damian Priest and Mustafa Ali. I'm also guessing we're going to get another Hurt Business match. Cedric and Shelton probably defending the belts against somebody, and they'll tease more tension between them. Maybe even Carlito and Jeff Hardy. I'm not sure what Carlito's status is for WWE right now, but they had a match last week with Elias and Jackson Ryker picking up the win, even though Carlito really didn't do anything. That was pretty much all Jeff Hardy the entire match. Now Miz and Morrison, I'm sure will be up at the semantics. Like I said, I think maybe Damian Priest versus John Morrison will be on the books tonight. Priest made his official Raw debut last week, defeating The Miz in a quick match. So I can see them doing something with John Morrison this week. Probably some more stuff with Alexa Bliss. Maybe another Alexa's Playground. Maybe she'll get involved in the Randy Orton Drew McIntyre match. It's always a possibility. And then I don't know if the match is going to be this week or if they're saving it for Elimination Chamber. But Lana and Naomi won that triple threat tag team match last week to earn a title shot at Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler for the women's tag team championship. So I don't know if we're going to get that this week or if they're going to build it for like Elimination Chamber. There's no official announcement, but I guess we'll find out here very, very soon. All right, so that's going to do it for this stream, guys. Thanks again, DJ, for joining. It's always nice having you here in the chat with me, man. Good to get another person's opinion on this. Raw's about to go live in a minute, so I'm going to end this here. But stay tuned. Probably in about 15 or 20 minutes, we'll have a brand new video on this YouTube channel. First fig hunt of 2021. Really excited for everybody to see this. If you're watching this live stream, you got a little sneak peek of what I found. Other than that, guys, check see if there's anything on the notes. Nope, no other notes, guys. That's going to do it for this stream. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Don't forget, come back here tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube, youtube.com. Search Wrestling with Fans Podcast. Click the blue logo. Click that subscribe. But it's a live video, so you're probably subbed unless you just happen to find it. But either way, guys, thank you all for watching. Hope you guys all have a wonderful night. Enjoy Monday Night Raw. And I will see you guys tomorrow night right here on YouTube. Once again, my name is Kyle. Thank you all for watching. See you next time right here on Wrestling with Fans.